Alright guys, our new topic is going to be equations of a circle. So how we write the equation of a circle and how we also graph our circles. The standard equation of a circle is going to be with your center at hk and you have a radius of r is going to be this. So x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared. What that means is equation of a circle, just going back to your equation of a line. When you learned this before, your equation of a line is equal to y equals mx plus b, right? And your m is your slope and your b is your y-intercept. So your m and your b would always change, but you'd always have y and x in your equation. And your y and x would be points that would be on your line, right? So m is your slope, b is your y-intercept, the x and the y are points that are on your line. The same thing is true for the equation of your circle. You have your h and your k, that's your center, and then your r as your radius. This x and this y are going to be points that are on your circle, the ordered pair that are on your circle, just like it is true for equation of a line, right? This is your equation of a circle. Let's say that I had a center that was at the origin. So if it's at the origin, that means my hk, here's my h and k, it's going to be 0, 0. Well, that means this is going to be a 0, and this is going to be a 0. So x minus 0 is just going to be x. So you're going to have x squared. Y minus 0 is just y squared, and then you have your r squared. So if you have a circle centered at the origin, then it's going to be x squared plus y squared equals your r squared. Okay. All right, so there are two pieces of information that I need to know when I want to write the equation of a circle. I have to know what my center is, and I have to know what my radius is. So you're giving me my center and my radius. I'm going to replace my h with my -2 and replace my k with 3. And I get this, -2 here and a 3 here. But this is like saying the opposite of h, the opposite of k. Well, if my h is a -2, I want the opposite of -2, which is going to be positive, positive. I'm going to get x plus 2. And then y minus 3 again, because I want the opposite of my k here. That means it's going to be -3. And then my r is 5, so 5 squared is 25. So here's the equation of my circle that is centered at -2, positive 3, with the radius of 5. Again, because right here, I'm taking the opposite of h, the opposite of k. Here's my h and my k. So it's a positive 2 and a -3. I want to write the equation of this circle. Again, I need two pieces of information. So I need to know what my center is, and I need to know what my radius is. So my center, it's going to be right here at the origin. So I'm going to have a center of 0, 0, and my radius is going out 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have a radius of 4. I'm going to replace my h and my k with 0, 0, and then my r is 4. But don't forget, you have to square that r. So you're going to get 4 squared, and then you're going to change that to be 16. Again, two pieces of information you need to know to write the equation of your circle. So they're either going to give it to you straight what your radius is and what your center is, and you just plug them straight into your formula. You're going to have to get it off of a graph, or you're going to have a problem like this, where they're going to give you a point and they're going to give you your center. But again, in order to write the equation of a circle, you need to know what the radius is, and you don't know what that is yet. Here is your center with h and k. So there's two ways that you can go about this. What this is saying is if you have a circle center at 1, 2, 3, 4, up 1, 2, that's your center, and then 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, -1. Down here would be your point. So it's saying that you have a circle, something like this. You can figure out what the radius is by using your distance between these 2 points. Or, that's how you find the radius. Or, you can just use the equation of your circle. Now, really, if you look at this, if you were to take the square root of your r and the square root of this guy over here, so your square and square root cancel, doesn't this guy right here look like your distance formula anyways? So yes, your distance formula and your equation of a circle are basically the same thing. Well, however you want to solve this, if you just want to find your radius between those 2 points and then plug it into your equation, you can do that, or you can use this equation. And you're going to replace, this is your x and your y, it's a point on your circle, and here's your hk. Whatever way you want to do that. So I'm going to use my equation here. Instead of x, I'm going to have 8. So I'm going to get 8 minus, and my h is going to be 4 squared, plus my y is -1, minus my k, which is 2 squared, is equal to r squared. Again, all of this is to figure out what my r is. 8 minus 4 is going to be 4 squared, plus -3 squared is equal to r squared. I'm going to get 16 plus 9 equals r squared. 25 equals r squared, so I know r is going to be equal to 5 if I take the square root of both sides here. So now I have my r and I have my center. Those two pieces is what I need to write the equation of my circle. So I just replace my hk, and then don't forget you have to do your r squared to be this guy right here. Let's do one more like that. So again, I have my x, my y, and here is my h and my k. I need to figure out what my r is. I'm going to replace my x with -6 minus my h, which is -7, double negative there, be careful, squared, plus my y is 14, minus my k, which is 16 squared, is equal to r squared. Double negative here becomes positive, so I'm going to get 1 squared plus -2 squared is equal to r squared. So 1 plus 4 equals r squared. 5 is equal to r squared, which means r is going to be equal to rad 5. So I have my radius and I have my center. Be very careful. With your radius, it's your radius squared. That's what's going to go into your equation of your circle here. So again, we're going to replace the h and the k with our h and k, what we know our center is. And then you're going to take your r, this guy goes right here. But remember, it's r is equal to rad 5, but this is supposed to be your r squared. So r squared is just 5. Rad 5 times rad 5 is just 5. Let's graph this guy. Okay, so I need to know my center. And I need to know what my radius is. Actually, let's go back. I need to know what my center is. So my center is going to be -1, +3. It's the opposite of what's here, -1, +3. And my radius is, don't forget, this guy right here is my radius squared. So then what is just my radius? That's going to be 2. So I'm going to take the square root of this guy, right? The square root of 4 is going to give me my radius of 2. So when I graph that, I know I'm going to have my center at -1, +3, and I'm going to go out 2 for my radius. I can just estimate it if I were to go over 1, 2. So I have a radius of 2. Your homework today, just so you know, it is multiple choice. So because of that, there's only 3 questions, I believe, that have the answers on your instant scoring. Just I want to make sure you guys actually know what you're doing rather than just going through A, B, C, D. Later on tomorrow, I will put it on to instant scoring so you can go back and see which ones are right, but it shouldn't take you that long. Okay, so again, there's only about 3 of them that have the instant scoring, so you can check to see if you know what it is that you're doing. And the following problems, I'm just going to double check, so that and I'll be talking with you if I see that you're making mistakes. Okay.